Marc Morano, you are here at the 7th International Climate Change Conference of the Heartland Institute. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You're going to be presenting here?
Yeah, I'll be presenting later today. And again, what do you want to talk about?
Well, of course,
you've heard enough of what
the big news, of course, is this billboard. And,
sure.
And you've said that you think that it's hypocritical of the so-called warmist community to criticize that because they've been really harsh.
Yeah, I mean both sides over the time, and you've covered this. So what was my quote? You said it, and I said it very delicately. I said they deserved to be flogged. I never said people would be flogged, but I said they deserve to be flogged, and you made such hay out of that.
There's not enough knives. If the IPCC had been done by Japanese scientists, there is not enough knives on planet Earth for Harry Carey that should have occurred.
Making sure that every scientist at every university in this country that's been involved in this is named and fired, drawn and quartered, or whatever it is.
Not to be outdone, climate denier Marc Morano called for public floggings of scientists.
It was the only comment I ever said. I said that to, I think it was Scientific American.
You said the climate scientists deserve to be flogged.
Yes.
You didn't think they should actually be flogged.
Yeah,
you thought they deserve
as an expression. So, okay. Yeah. So have we all said things that are seen as intimidation?
Cheryl, make sure Mr. Soprano is scheduled for 2.
Just remember it.
Oh, and people always say, oh, I post the emails. I mean, give me a break. Publicly available emails. I just posted an email I got that was quasi-threatening. And people get these all the time when you're taking a controversial issue. People should be thanking me for posting the email addresses of scientists.
Do you think there's been an attempt to intimidate? You know, people have published your email and more or less encouraged abuse and you know,
yeah, things
directed at you.
I think that there is no question that much of this is intended to intimidate. And I think there's an extra dimension because as a woman, most of the attacks that I'm receiving are from men. And so that has a very different dynamic to it that honestly can feel very threatening and intimidating sometimes.
So then you have to look at what happened in Australia where they said there were all these death threats and the review looked at them and they weren't quite death threats.
Just remember it.
Maybe one, and anyway, these are public figures taking very controversial stands. The bottom line is when you look at this billboard, Heartland campaign, this was not something that was it was any big deal in the grand scheme of things, and it's not even so much the global warmers. You expect them because it's sort of a partisan bickering back and forth, between the sides, the warring factions. It's the media outrage, which is just so phony, and the idea that they're faux outrage. Oh, can you believe someone did this? This is done all the time. I did a post of just the last, I think it was 7 or 8 days of all the Holocaust denial, not the use of the word denial, but actually comparing skeptics to Holocaust deniers. Everyone from Joe Rome, of course, Scott Pelley at CBS News has done it years ago. We've had the Nuremberg-style trials called for by Grist Magazine's Dave Roberts. You had recent publication by the Holocaust survivor, I can't remember pronounce his name, the professor who survived the Holocaust, who's openly saying that we're like Hitler deniers.
A white supremacist website recently posted man's picture alongside several other climate scientists with the word Jew next to each image.
The idea that this is new, different, exciting, newsworthy, shocking, let's just get beyond that. I'm trying to find a soft middle ground here. That's my role in this. I say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek.
You're not generally perceived as being a soft middle ground kind of guy. I will say that. Now the Heartland billboard, of course, is the one that compared global warming, people that accept the mainstream science with the Unabomber, and they were going to go on.
They were going to go on. I think they only did the Unabomber. They were going to go on with Charles Manson and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so then they withdrew that, and they sort of said, well, yeah, but the most prominent people that accept global warming are not scientists. They are murderers, tyrants, and madmen. So would you Is that something that you would
I take that as a tongue-in-cheek, trying to be controversial, over-the-top statement. Obviously, no one's going to sit down and try to break that down and say that that is...
So you wouldn't say like a certain percentage of the National Academy of Science are murderers, or how many are tyrants?
Like you're being now, you're being silly.
You know.
I mean, it was a controversial campaign to get some attention, obviously. But it basically just going through, hey, look, there's a lot. And the Unabomber comparison, in all reality, was done years and years ago with Al Gore. And there was actually a New York Times reporter, who I can get you the name, who took a quiz and failed. I think he only got 33% right, comparing Al Gore's views to the Unabomber. So there's, and that's always fascinating. Joe Rome of Climate Progress, and I can't remember his name, but the Norwegian school shooter, was a global warming denier, according to him. So he's done the same thing on the other side. This is where I say Climate Depot reaches for that middle ground where we can all get along, the consensus. Both sides are having fun with that, in a sense, when you do that. So I just don't, I think it's just, and your role should be to just at least put that perspective in. I know you want to do, this is outrageous, this is unprecedented, but just bring up the other stuff.
When you publish someone's email address on
Which
your
you should
website,
be thanking me. I'm waiting for the day you thank me to do
well, you know, but some of those people have gotten some really, really foul feedback.
They're public figures. I get the same really, really foul feedback. Senator Inhofe got really, really foul feedback.
Okay. And so you know that's happening, and you know that that's more likely to happen when you
But that's not what it's about. What percentage of that? I mean, some people say they get literally hundreds of emails. Sometimes some have claimed thousands of emails when they post it, depending on how hot button the issue is. This is they're hearing from the public, and there's going to be a certain percentage probably of disrespectful, nasty stuff. There's also going to be angry stuff that's not disrespectful, and there's also going to be a lot of serious points, and there's probably going to be a lot of people on the other side praising them.
The approach seems to be not so much to discredit the science or facts, but to discredit the messenger. A lot of the approach seems to be, you're lying. And as a scientist, we're so conditioned to talk about facts that it's really a shock to feel like that is the basis under which this conversation is being conducted.
It's called the whole rainbow of different ideas and part of public debate. So I'm not sitting there. It's this beautiful rainbow. It's flowing, and so it's just absolutely silly to get upset at that. These are people that spent their academic careers. Their ideas. People like Carrie Norgard, people that come out with very controversial ideas. People that want to do human engineering. I can't remember his name, from SUNY New York. Human engineering of the climate. They need, I believe it's helpful, healthy for them to hear directly from the public. You could argue they're in their little academic ivory towers, insulated, that the university presidents aren't pressuring them, their students are teaching them, the media treats them with respect. It's about time they hear from the public, the unwashed masses, if you will.
Honestly, it's a little bit like in the school ground. You're lying. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. You can go back and forth infinitely, and you can never break that impasse if that's the level that we're arguing at. And so that's why I, as a scientist, feel like facts are so important, because facts are what break our impasse.
They need to hear from them, and it'll help them understand that their views have implications, and maybe they'll reconsider, maybe they'll just have a healthy debate.
Okay, so do you think this billboard thing, did that work out for Heartland, or what do you think?
It all depends. Lord Christopher Monckton went to Australia, I guess it was last summer, and he made some comparison, again, he made a Nazi analogy with, I can't remember, some Australian politician. And it was the same kind of faux outrage. How dare they bring this, how dare they mock this?
Alongside several other climate scientists, with the word Jew next to each image.
What ended up happening with Chris, he got so much media, he ended up having a debate at the National Press Club with Tim Lambert, the big global warmist. I don't think that would have happened had he not done that. So I think when you get into PR, which is different than the actual scientific bones of this. When you get into PR, there's many schools of thought. Let's create controversy. Let's get attention. Let's get a lot of people doing it. So I think that's what it is. I try not to use that kind of PR when I do stuff. I like to have fun, and if I do it, I try to do it as a joke and make it humorous.
It doesn't always come across as a joke.
It may not. Well, I'm talking about if I do certain things.
It may be a little bit of your, Tony Soprano demeanor.
Just remember it.
Whether you cultivate that or not, or if you come by it honestly, when you say people deserve to be flogged, and then put their email on.
Well, you're conflating two different things now, but
well, okay, but you know, it does.
I'm not saying flog this person and put an email. And I also notice I don't go either way. I don't say. Many sites put an email, please be polite, but I don't bother with that. And they also say, you know, please send this. I don't say either. I just put the email address up. I figure the audience is intelligent. They see an email. If they want to do it, they can. If not, they don't. I don't pretend to tell people, please be polite, or please let this person know and give them your mind, you know, give a piece of your mind. I don't do either way. And again, I go through, that just depends. I don't do it with everyone. I usually don't do it with the big figures, James Hansen, Michael Mann.
I'm a little slighted that you've never printed my email.
I can't find your email. I think I've tried to post yours. Yours is not on your website, right? Well, this isn't publicly available. You're making me violate it.
It is.
I don't think it is. I don't know that it is.
Something like,
I'd have to go back.
Something like email me or something.
But I don't, again, I would only do it if you did something that I considered hit a trigger. And I don't know, you'd have to do something either completely unfair, completely outrageous, outlandish. And again, I'm talking, when I do this, I'm not putting up Michael Mann claims the hockey stick is validated because I don't put up Michael Mann's email address. This is not part of the sign. This is more part of the insults, tirades. If I had RFK Jr.'s email, he's called us, you know, traitors and all that. I would put an email address for him. I don't have his email. James Hansen saying crimes against humanity. I think I put his email up once or twice, but usually when they're that big of a figure, they get so many emails I just don't even bother. What's more effective, and I think part of the strategy in doing that, it's more like the Kerry Norgards. It's more, again, the guy from SUNY New York. It's the professors that no one's ever, that aren't public figures. You know, anyway, these are public figures that aren't public figures. You know, anyway, these are public figures that aren't public figures. That's more interesting to do that to, because I genuinely think for the first time they're actually saying, whoa, what is going on here? The public's not with me, or there's a lot of people out there that don't agree with this and that are challenging me. And I really think there's such an insulation factor with a lot of these academics that, again, Peter Sinclair should be thanking Climate Depot for doing this. It's healthy to the debate.
Well, I will thank you for taking some time to speak to me. I'm very grateful for that, and I will be attending your presentation, and perhaps we'll talk later in the conference.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thanks.